JC here from Toy News International, and today I'm throwing together a video just to kind of give you an update on things going on. There's a few things that happened this past week I wanted to talk about, and then New York Comic Con is coming up this week, which I also want to talk briefly about. So the things that happened last week, the new Luke Cage Marvel series debuted on Netflix, so I want to talk a little bit about that. Also, Rogue Friday or Force Friday, whatever you want to call it, where the new Star Wars products hit shelves, was this past weekend. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that as well. I've got a letter from the P.O. Box I was going to read. And then also wanted to just give you an update on the TNI toy question of the week. So last week we had a winner. Jeff0117 was the winner for last week's TNI Toy Question of the Week, where he won a $100 store credit to Big Bad Toy Store. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. I didn't post a TNI Toy Question this week because New York Comic Con is this week, and I just didn't want to have to try and fool with that and deal with New York Comic Con coverage and everything. So the Question of the Week contest will be back possibly this Friday, if not this Friday, then next Friday. So, stay tuned for that. Now, that brings me to New York Comic Con. That begins this week. In fact, tomorrow is when our coverage will begin with Hasbro's media event. Hasbro really doesn't have a booth presence at New York Comic Con anymore. They did a couple years, but really stopped doing that. But what they do is they hold a media event the night before Comic Con and basically show off some new product to the press and everything. So usually they'll have some new Marvel Legends and some new Transformers and Star Wars, things like that. So we will be bringing you coverage of that as it happens tomorrow night, Wednesday, October 5th. So be sure to tune in for that. It's you'll probably start seeing coverage around 7, 8 o'clock tomorrow night. So it is kind of later in the day, but definitely, we will be bringing you that. And then Thursday is the official opening of New York Comic Con at the Javits Center, and we'll be bringing you coverage of companies like NECA and Mezco and things like that, Tamashii Nations, Bluefin, things like that, who will be on hand at New York Comic Con. So we'll be bringing you that throughout the weekend. So I'll be on the convention floor on Thursday. So if you're around and you see me, be sure to say hi. But again, if you're not attending, be sure to check into all the websites: toynewseye.com, marvelousnews.com, jediinsider.com, and tformers.com for all the coverage. Okay, so that brings me to what's happening this week, and also just to note, I'm going to have some reviews of I'm hoping to have a video review for the new 3 1/4 inch Mortal Kombat figures from Mezco up tomorrow. So I'll definitely be mixing in some toy reviews as well as trying getting up some videos from Comic Con, especially for the Hasbro event and stuff tomorrow night. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And I'll have links to all the websites in the video description below, just in case you don't know what the sites are. Now, before I get to talking about the Luke Cage series and Force Friday, as I mentioned, I got a letter in the P.O. box. So, if you ever want to, send me a letter with artwork or anything like that, the P.O. box address is in the video description below and in all the video descriptions that I do. And I would love to hear from you. I know a lot of you will hit me up on Facebook or Twitter or even here on YouTube, but definitely I love it when I get a letter, especially with some cool artwork and stuff. So this letter comes from Wyatt, and he asked me to open it on camera, so I am. I don't know what happened to this envelope. It looks like it went through a war zone to get here. Good old post office. But let's see. So, pretty thick. The envelope's pretty thick. Very nice. So let me read the letter first. See, don't have my reading glasses on, but I'll try and get through this. Let's see. Hey JC, love your videos. I watched the video when you went to the stores and you said no one loves you. Do you know what? I call that bullcrap. I love you. Every one of your subscribers love you. I don't know about that, but appreciate the love, man. I really do. If no one loved you, then they wouldn't have subscribed to you. Anyway, I love your videos. My favorite videos are the Batman videos. Also, did you know they're making a Poison Ivy action figure for Arkham Knight? I did know that. It's coming from DC Collectibles, though there's actually some question about its release. So there have been some rumors that it's been canceled. I actually reached out a few weeks ago to DC Collectibles to get an update on that. They said they would check into it, but never got back to me, so I'll have to try and follow up. But hopefully it hasn't been canceled. You know, I know it's been delayed at the very least, but hopefully it hasn't been canceled, as some rumors have indicated. I'll try and get a heads up from DC Collectibles and see what they say. Let's see. Well, you probably did, because the companies send you stuff for free, which some do occasionally, but honestly, most of the stuff I review, I pay for. But anyway, and every Batman video put up, I will watch. Good to know. Definitely love doing the Batman related and DC comic related videos. And your Suicide Squad videos, my favorite character is Harley Quinn. Do you know if they are making an Enchantress figure? If you do, please let me know. So, as far as I know of, and I assume you are referring to the Enchantress multiverse figure, and as far as I know of, Mattel is not planning on making that figure. I can't say that definitive, but I think if they were, we probably would have seen it at San Diego Comic-Con. Being that they've pretty much showed all the figures that are coming out in the next year or so, and basically from that point they're going to start focusing on the next DC movie, which is going to be Wonder Woman. So I don't think I would hold my breath on a multiverse Enchantress figure. Again, it's not 100%, but the chances I don't think are good. The only company I know of at this time that is doing an Enchantress figure is Funko with their Reaction 4-inch figures, those 5 points of articulated retro figures. They announced that they're doing an Enchantress figure, but that at this point is the only company I know of that's doing Enchantress. Please read this note on camera. Done. Here is some artwork for you. I'll have some goodies for you soon. Bye, Wyatt. Your biggest fan. So again, I really appreciate the letter, and let's take a look at this artwork. Looks like it's DC related, which makes sense since he's a Batman fan. So this looks like Poison Ivy, and I like how he took the time to color in Poison Ivy, little flowers and everything. Very nice. Harley Quinn and the Joker. Ooh, this is actually my favorite. This one, I really like this one. Harley Quinn herself. And again, I think he did a really nice job with the colorings on this one. So this one's definitely my favorite. So I really appreciate that Wyatt taking the time to send in the letter and the artwork. And again, if any of you want to hit me up, wants to show off some of your artwork on a future video, P.O. Box address is in the video description below. Okay, so as I mentioned before, this past weekend was Force Friday or Rogue Friday. I actually did not end up going out at midnight on Force Friday. The only store, I only have one Toys R Us store that was opening at midnight around here, and the Target and the Walmarts weren't opening at midnight, and it was pouring down raining. We got hit with a bunch of rain last week, and so it was pretty much just didn't, and honestly, I already had most of the stuff. I had just the day before I'd found some stuff at Walmart, and had most of the stuff I wanted. The only thing I haven't gotten yet that I want that's out now is the Toys R Us exclusive hover tank pilot. But I imagine Toys R Us, I checked today, I went out there today, and they really didn't have much. In fact, they had pretty much just Force Awakens stuff still on shelves. I don't know if they just didn't stock very much for the Rogue One or it got cleaned out or what, but it was mostly just older Force Awakens stuff that was on their shelves. But I'm figuring Toys R Us will probably eventually put it online, or I'll find it in the store eventually. So that's really the only Rogue One type figure that I'm looking to get at this point. Definitely want to get the next wave of Black Series figures, and those new 3 1/4 inch Black Series figures that'll be at Walmart. I want to pick those up as well. And also, if you caught my video last week, my review of the Imperial Death Trooper Black Series figure, I mentioned about some of the exclusives, and one was a original trilogy C-3PO, and I had said that it was most likely going to be an Amazon exclusive. Turns out it's actually going to be a Walgreens exclusive. So if that's a figure you want to get, it's not out yet, but it should probably be, I'm thinking probably by the end of the year or early next year, be hitting Walgreens stores. So I just wanted to update you on that if you checked out that video. So I'd be interested to know if you guys went out at midnight or the next morning, and if you found what you were looking for, and what it is that you picked up, let me know in the comment section. So finally, I wanted to talk about the Luke Cage series. It premiered this weekend, as I mentioned before, and I'm going to talk about some spoilers, but before I get to that, I just want to say I did enjoy the series. I didn't think it was quite as good as the Daredevil series. I did like it better than Jessica Jones. I thought it dragged a little bit in places. I liked Mike Colcher as Cage, but I pretty much knew that because I enjoyed him in the Jessica Jones series. And I liked Misty Knight. I thought she did a good job. I liked seeing that character there. And seeing Claire again, that was a good one. But I did have a few issues, and like I said, I'm going to talk about some spoilers, so if you haven't watched the entire series yet, you may want to just fast forward past this. So I did have a few problems with it. So first of all, I thought the villains were a little bit weak. Mainly, not that they did a bad job, it's just that, going up, you've got this character with the power levels of Cage, which is on par with the Avengers. He's not quite, obviously he's not as strong as the Hulk or Thor, but definitely probably as strong as Captain America, if not stronger, and he's got the impenetrable skin and everything. So just kind of going up against like these gangsters and drug dealers and stuff in Harlem, it was kind of interesting for a little bit, but it got a little old after a while. I think they could have done a little bit more, created a little more menacing of a video. I mean, Diamondback, they tried, but even that came off being a little bit weak, I think, with the little super suit and everything that he had. I just thought, that was probably my biggest complaint with this series. Also, I think they need to do a better job of interconnecting these with the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., this takes place with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all the movies. In Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I mean, obviously we're not going to see major movie characters appear in any of these TV series. That's a given, and I understand that. But, like with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they often mention the Sokovia Accords and things like that. If you've been watching the new season with Ghost Rider and stuff, that's been referenced multiple times and everything. So, there's definitely a decent correlation between the movies and that series. But with these, you get some vague references. We've gotten throughout these series multiple references to the invasion in New York, and we often get references to Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and Hulk. But that's about it. Now, I'm not 100% sure what the timeline is on these. So it may just be that maybe the events of Civil War haven't happened during this series. I don't know. We definitely know it takes place after the events of the first Avengers movie, and we know as far as like the Netflix series go themselves, this Cage series takes place after the events of season 2 of Daredevil, because there were references to Frank Castle and Claire's involvement at the hospital with the hand and everything. So, we know that, but, what we don't really know is when do these actual Netflix series take place in regards to the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But the reason why I thought it was kind of weird is, if this takes place after the events of Civil War, is you've got this guy in Luke Cage, is this really powerful, enhanced person with super strength and everything, being filmed on TV and everything, and the only ones that are going after him are the New York City police. Where's the government? Where's S.H.I.E.L.D.? Where's, why aren't they wanting him to be registered with the government, and why aren't they bringing him in to do so? Things like that. So that's why it's kind of like, never once was there a mention of the Sokovia Accords in this series. So I just found that odd. The government did finally come to, take him in, but for his crimes against, when he was Lucas and basically broke out of CK prison. But really, again, no reference to him being an unregistered super enhanced person, as I guess they call it, or one of them, as they are generally referred to in these Netflix series. They don't even like really mention them as superheroes or inhuman. Like in Shield, it's like everybody who's enhanced is considered to be an inhuman. In this, it's just like they're one of those people, or an enhanced. You know, I know they can't call them mutants and stuff, but it's just there's just kind of a bit of a disconnect between these, even though again there are some references. We also saw, you know, things referencing Justin Hammer, and I thought again that was a little bit weird because, you know, Justin Hammer was arrested and sent to jail at the end of Iron Man 2, and that happened some time ago. And so I guess his company could still be operating without him. And the guns, you know, the Justin Hammer weapons that are out on the street, you know, those could be something that were created a while back that are just now leaking out on the street in the black market. But that super suit that Diamondback was wearing was a little bit weird to me because, you know, that's something, you know, that basically Justin Hammer was trying to create at, you know, during Iron Man 2, a super suit like that. And so, you know, the fact that there is now one that his company has created after he went to jail seems a little odd to me. And again, I guess theoretically, I guess it's possible the company is still operating and people are still creating things there. So I don't know. The bullets, the super bullets that they made up, obviously that was to kind of give a level playing field to these gangsters and stuff because, again, you know, Cage just, you know, was way more powerful than anybody he was going up against. So, you know, I guess they created that to kind of level the field. But that in its own right was a little bit odd because basically they referenced that these bullets were created with a alien metal. I'm assuming Chitauri, a Chitauri, you know, metal source from the invasion of New York. That's the impression they gave me. But where it got confusing to me is, you know, it started out where there was only a couple of these bullets. They were outrageously expensive to get your hands on, which did make it a little odd to me that how these gangsters were able to get their hands on it. But then all of a sudden it was like they're mass producing these bullets and somebody's selling them to the police. So that just seemed a little bit odd and convenient. How they actually mass produce something that's made from a very rare and limited metal, and they tried to give some kind of explanation for how he would do it, but it just didn't make much sense to me. So those were my issues with it. But again, overall, I enjoyed it. You know, I sat through the weekend and watched the whole thing. So I definitely thought it was decent. I liked the Easter eggs, like, you know, I liked how they kind of referenced Cage's original Power Man suit with, you know, when he broke out of Seagate prison and had the yellow shirt and had the thing on his head and the wrists gauntlets. So I liked that. That was a nice nod. And then we got a reference to Iron Fist at the end. At least I believe that was a reference to Iron Fist where we see Claire. She's walking up and grabs one of those little tabs off the street pole to learn Kung Fu. So I think that's how they're going to bring in Iron Fist to it. I'm sure we'll see Claire again in the next series, since she's in all these Netflix series. She's like the one common denominator that kind of brings everybody together. So that was nice. I was a little confused by the names of the villains. So we had Cottonmouth and we had Diamondback. Now those are names that I associate with the Serpent Society, and there was really no reference to these guys having any connection to snakes or serpent type secret society of that type. So that was kind of confusing to me why they named these guys after members of the Serpent Society. Now we saw Diamondback, you know, we saw that doctor that gave Cage his powers get his hands on Diamondback at the end. So I'm assuming we'll see him again with superpowers of some kind. So maybe that's how the Serpent Society aspect will come into it. But I just thought that was a little bit odd. Shades, he was kind of a weird character. I mean, I know it was his gimmick wearing the sunglasses, but seeing him wearing sunglasses at nighttime was kind of funny. But, you know, I don't know. Like, I really never read Power Man and Iron Fist. I read Iron Fist, like his own comic, but I never really read the Power Man Iron Fist comics. I really didn't start reading Luke Cage until he joined the New Avengers. So that's really my biggest exposure to Cage and the character. So I don't know a lot about his background, his original background. So I don't know if characters like Shades or or the people in Harlem and stuff are actual characters they pulled from the comic, or if it's something they created for the TV series. I know, like Misty Knight, I mean, I know she's a well-established character, and I was kind of surprised when she got her arm shot, and like Claire was like operating on it and like indicating that the longer it goes, she might lose the use of her arm. I thought they were setting that up for her to basically have her arm amputated so that she would get the gold arm like you see her have in the comics nowadays. But it looks like her arm healed up fine, so I guess that's not where they were going with that. But we'll see how that plays out over time. But again, overall, I really enjoyed the series. Not quite as much as Daredevil, especially the second season, but I think it's definitely worth checking out. And if you haven't been reading the news on Marvelous News, it was just announced today that Iron Fist, which is going to be the next Netflix series, will be debuting in March. So we've got 6 months to go until the next series, which will be Iron Fist. And then after that should be the Defenders series, which is going to see Cage, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, and Daredevil all come together and work together as a team. So that one's probably the one I'm looking forward to the most. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Again, love to hear your thoughts on Cage, what you thought about it. Did you like it? How did it compare with the other Netflix series and stuff? So definitely would love to hear that. And, like I said, hope you guys tune in this week to the New York Comic Con coverage, especially with Wednesday night. We should be getting some new Marvel Legends news and Star Wars. And I mean, I don't know, you never know how much, usually there's a decent number of Marvel things that they debut at these events. But again, you really never know until you actually get there. But definitely tune in to Marvelous News, ToyNewsEye.com, T-Formers, and Jedi Insider this week starting tomorrow evening. All right, guys, until next time, I'll catch you later.